We're joined by Katie Sharp, Yankees reporter for The Athletic and River Ave Blues. And the Yankees are having a great year, but unfortunately for Yankee fans, Boston's having an even better year at 85-35, and 9.5 separate the two teams atop the AL East. Katie, Roger Weiland, Chris Honorado, ESPN Radio in Albany. Good morning.
Good morning, guys. How are you doing?
We're good, Katie. Thanks for a few minutes. And it is amazing that this Yankee team is really good, and they've won a lot of games, and they're playing really good baseball, but they just can't get over the hump because Boston seems to be, Katie, just too darn good this year.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, they're actually having a historic season. There's only been, you said they're 85 and 35 right now, so only 12 teams in the World Series era, that's dating back to 1903, have won 85 of their first 120 games. So that's over 115 seasons of baseball, and only a handful of teams have done what the Red Sox have done this season. So it's truly a historic season for them, and unfortunately, it comes at the same time the Yankees are having arguably one of their best seasons in many years as well.
Yeah, 74-43 is not too shabby. Giancarlo Stanton, Katie, carrying the load right now offensively without Aaron Judge and Gary Sanchez in the lineup.
Yeah, he's been incredible. Since Judge went on the DL, which is July 27th, he's got 7 homers, 15 RBIs in those 16 games. He's slugging over 650. His OPS is almost 1,000. And most importantly, his strikeout rate is down around roughly below league average over that time, over these last couple of weeks. So it's really encouraging. If you look at just those last 2 weeks, it's basically in line with what he did for the entire season, what his final season line was last year during his MVP year. So you can't ask him to keep up this incredible rate for the entire season, but he's looking really, really strong right now.
I mean, I know everybody, Katie, will look at the 59 home runs he hit last year. He's obviously not going to get this year, but it still will go 40-plus. Katie Sharp of The Athletic and River Ave Blues with us here on Big Board Sports, ESPN Radio in Albany. And check her out on Twitter, because if you haven't already been able to tell, Katie has a number to illustrate every single thing that's going on the field related to the Yankees. So if you're a Yankees fan or just a baseball fan in general, she's a must-follow on Twitter. It's just the letters KT and then Sharp, at KT Sharp. Katie, let's talk about what Miguel Andujar is doing in this lineup, because Gleyber Torres, as we know, was the more heralded prospect in this farm system, and Andujar was the name everybody kept bringing up as the guy the Yankees may trade for a pitcher like a Jacob deGrom or like a Chris Archer, and yet it seems like they can't do without Andujar because of how clutch he's been this year.
Yeah, I mean, he has been incredible. I've been tweeting out a lot of stats about him recently, and what he's done, and his latest heroics a couple days ago. That was his fourth go ahead hit in the 7th inning or later. Sort of that game winning hit, and that's the most on the team, and it's tied for the most by any Yankee rookie over the last 25 seasons in a season. So he's been incredible, and one stat I like to look at is what he's doing in what's called high leverage situations, high leverage plate appearances. Basically, when the pressure is the most, kind of when you're tied in the late innings or whatever. It's a proxy for that. He is hitting .329 with a .376 on base and a .592 slugging, so nearly a 1,000 OPS. And the league average there is about a 790 OPS. So he's more than 200 points better than that in those high leverage situations, which is just incredible for a rookie like that, and at 23 years old, to come in and make it such an impact on the team this year.
And Katie, how about the addition of Lance Lynn? I said it last night on our local NBC station here, where Roger and I both are sports anchors and reporters, that Lance Lynn may go down as one of the more underrated late July moves in baseball, and certainly one made by Brian Cashman. Do you expect what he's shown in 2 starts, 1 relief appearance to endure? Like, can Lance Lynn keep this up for August, September, and into October?
I think he can. I mean, this is not just 3 starts that he's been good. If you look at going back to mid-May, and remember he signed late with the Twins. He was one of those late signings in basically right before the season started. So he got off to a really slow start. He was still working. He got on the major league roster, but he was still basically in spring training during April and sort of through the beginning of May. Since mid-May, he has a 3.09 ERA and a 2.27 opponent batting average allowed.
Wow.
That's over about roughly 80 innings. So I mean, he's been a better than league average starter for more than, for nearly 2 months here, more than 2 months. So I think that he can keep this up the rest of the season. And if you look at his track record, he's one of my favorite pitchers. He's probably one of the more consistent pitchers that you'll ever find. He's never going to be amazing. He's never going to have that Cy Young season, but he's never going to have that dud season. He's got in his 6 full seasons that he's had, 4 of them he's had an ERA that's 20% better than the league average. He's going to give you 175 innings every season. So I think this was a terrific, a very underrated acquisition by Cashman. I look for him to kind of provide that stability, those innings when they really need it down the stretch.
Time with Katie Sharp, Yankees reporter for The Athletic and River Ave Blues. I like playing the stat game with you, Katie. You're really good at it. Is it just me, or is it Masahiro Tanaka just give up way too many home runs? I like him. I know he can be really good. You saw what he did in the postseason last year, but every time this guy pitches, it seems like he is in for at least giving up 1 gopher ball.
You're exactly right. This one is kind of, your stat to go. Since the start of last season, he's allowed the most home runs in the majors. And that's 57. So over 2 seasons. It was 35 last year and, whatever this year. He does have that home run problem, but the silver lining is that he doesn't allow a lot of base runners. That's one of his things. He's better than everybody. Most people in whip and base runners are allowed. So 67% of those home runs are actually solo home runs. So 2/3 of those home runs are just solo home runs, which is, I guess, sort of the best version of home runs you're going to give up. And that's better than, the league average is about roughly 59% of home runs given up are solo home runs. So he has that, sort of to mitigate the damage. But it is a problem, and it's basically, I've kind of looked into this issue with him, and he has the lowest fastball rate of any starter this season. So he doesn't throw a lot of fastballs. He relies on a lot of his off-speed stuff, and you need really precise location when you're throwing mainly off-speed stuff. And so when you make one mistake, it's pretty easy for the batter to do a lot of damage on that one mistake. So I think that's basically been his problem, and it's been his problem over the past couple of years as he's transitioned into this. His fastball velocity has declined, and he's gone more to his off-speed stuff frequently.
Again, check her out on Twitter, just the letters KT Sharp. And Katie, we'll let you get out of here on this. Do you want to just stir it up a little bit and give us a Go Navy, beat Army?
Go Navy, beat Army. How many months? You got a couple months left.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Katie, we appreciate it. Really good information and insight here. Thanks for a few minutes on Big Board Sports, ESPN Radio in Albany.
Thanks, guys.